Welcome to the Jonathan Bernard podcast, and thank you for continually streaming the show. It's so evident that you all enjoyed last week's episode on trophy hunting as a tool for conservation in Africa. Now that's currently the most streamed episode of the show, so I'd like to thank you all for the support. I'd also like to make a shout out to my awesome guests from last week for making it such a fascinating and worthwhile discussion. It might also be worthwhile to note that for the third month running, this podcast continues to reign high up on the list of Uganda's top shows, and it's still ranked the country's #1 travel and conservation podcast. But speaking of new things, in an all-new episode coming to the podcast this week, I speak to a native guide from the eastern part of Uganda on why the region continues to lag behind in light of tourism promotion and development when compared to the western half of the country. Juma Chebet joins me from the slopes of Mount Elgon, a region that he knows so well, pretty much as the back of his hand. He was born and bred in the east, and I feel like he's certainly one of the few perfect ambassadors for tourism in this stunning part of the country. On the show this week, we also explore some of the bucket list activities in this part of Uganda, and we also shine the light on a new wave of tourism development and promotion that is now driven by youthful lads who are using photography and modern technology to change the narrative and put the region in its well-deserved place. Now, I must say that this week's episode will be a very chill one. So grab yourself a hot chocolate or a coffee if it's cold where you are. And if you are in this part of the world where the weather has been quite hot recently, a cold drink is highly recommended. The episode goes live this Sunday and it will be available on all major streaming platforms including Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio for those joining in the US. It will also be available on TuneIn, Pandora, Castbox, Deezer, and several other platforms. So be sure to set a reminder to tune in and also subscribe to the podcast if you aren't already. Alright? I will see you on Sunday.